Hey, what's going on guys? YouTube here, back with another video. Welcome to episode 2 of my Broken Play series, in which I go through the various OTKs and otherwise broken plays that various decks have. As you can see here, the deck we're going to be discussing today is Mermails, so we're going to get straight into it. Okay, so first of all we're going to go through the OTK. It is extremely simple. All you need is a Mermail, Abyssgunde, and any 2 other water monsters in your hand. In fact, one of them has to be Atlantean Dragoons. So you're going to discard both of them. First, of course, reveal Megalo in your hand, special summon it. Then you get to search for your Abysssphere, which is sort of incidental. You're also going to search for any Sea Serpent type monster. You're going to search up a Deep Sea Diva and normal summon it. Activate its effect, special summon a Atlantean Marksman from your hand. The only way this OTK is going to work, unfortunately, is if your opponent doesn't control any spells or traps or monsters. Basically, you need to have an open field. It depends on what you discard to summon the Megalo. But yeah, pretty much what you're going to do is you're going to tribute the Deep Sea Diva with Megalo's effect, attack with Atlantean Marksman directly, special summon Atlantean Dragoons, attack with Dragoons, and then attack with Megalo twice, and that's exactly 8,000 damage. So it's a really simple OTK, and you know, most people know about it, and in fact it's very uncommon that it will come off correctly. Usually the opponent will have some sort of defense, and you'll have to kind of work around that first. But on occasion there is that, you know, chance that your opponent will only set a monster and end their turn, and then you discard the Marksman, you blow up their monster, and then you attack for a game, basically. So in the next segment of the video, I'm going to be talking about how to get 4 water monsters in your grave, and a Megalo on field, and Moulinglacia in your hand, which pretty much sets up a, not quite a first turn, but a second turn Moulinglacia play. So more on that next. Okay, so this is not quite an OTK, but it is a way to extremely screw over your opponent, especially if you do it first turn. So what you're going to do first is normal summon Genix Undine, activate the effect of Genix Undine, sending an Atlantean Dragoons from your deck to the graveyard. That will allow you to get one of the following. If you have Megalo in your hand, you get Moulinglacia. And if you have Moulinglacia in your hand, you get Megalo. So in this case, we're going to say we don't have the Moulinglacia in our hands, so we're going to add to our hand. And of course, you get to add, you know, Genix Controller. Silly random card that we often don't use. So then in your hand, you will also have another Atlantean Dragoons, and you will need some other water monster to discard in order to special summon the Abyss Megalo. So you are going to ditch those water monsters. Let's say hypothetically you have a Atlantean Marksman, for example. So you're going to ditch to special summon the Megalo. And Megalo's effect will activate, allowing you to add the Abysssphere to your hand, and you'll set it face down. It just really doesn't matter because it's not really part of the kind of strategy. Then you will use Megalo's effect. It doesn't matter whether you can't attack or not. Just tribute the Undine, get rid of it. And you have 4 water monsters in your graveyard. Your opponent knows that you have an Abysssphere face down, so they're probably not going to do a lot to you. They're going to be afraid to destroy the Abysssphere because you'll bring in a Linda and you'll special summon something else and you'll get 5 water monsters in your graveyard. They'll be afraid to destroy the Megalo for the same reason. The only way it will work is if they could destroy both of them simultaneously. So you're kind of in a really nice situation after turn 1, and then if they do happen to, you know, screw up and blind MST this, then of course you get 5 water monsters and you can special summon Moulinglacia. If you start off with a better hand, it's much easier to get first turn Moulinglacia. For example, if you happen to have 2 Dragoons in your opening hand instead of the Marksman and the Dragoons that I discarded, you will then be able to search up a Deep Sea Diva. And if you do that, it's far easier to get 5 water monsters in your graveyard, because when you discard the original Dragoons for Undine's effect, you have 1. When you discard the other 2 Dragoons, you have 3. And you'll have a Megalo on the field. Then you summon the Deep Sea Diva and get Atlantean Marksman. You sink for 5. You sink for Cataster, and then you have 5, and you special summon. So if you have 2 Dragoons in your opening hand instead of 1, it is far easier. But as I say, that doesn't happen too often. I'm going through the most common scenario of having an Undine, a Mermail, Abyss Megalo, and an Atlantean Dragoons. So yeah, that's basically it. Moulinglacia is ridiculous, and if you do this first turn before your opponent can actually do anything, or second turn, really, as early as possible, you will severely hinder your opponent's strategy, unless of course they're playing Dark Worlds or something crazy like that. So in the next part of the video, I'm going to be talking about the various combos you can do between Abysssphere and Atlantean Dragoons. So more on that next. Okay, so these 2 cards together may seem pretty unassuming, but I can guarantee you that they are actually, you know, really synergistic. That's totally a word. So what you're going to do is set your Abyss Sphere face down and do nothing else. You have an opening hand, say something like this. I picked up cards completely at random, so there's actually no pattern to this hand. Your opponent is an idiot, so they're going to blind MST it. Which you will then activate it and special summon a Abyssgunde from the deck. It's destroyed, and you activate its effect. Most people will go for an Abyssmegalo, but I think it's the worst idea in the world if, and only if, you have a Dragoons in your hand. So you go for Abyss Pike instead. And then you activate its effect, discard Dragoons to add. And this is something that people don't really appreciate. So Megalo with the Dragoons, and Abyssgunde with the level 3 water monster. Nobody ever considers adding Abyssgunde to their decks, even, never mind to their hand with the effect of Abyss Pike. So, now what are you going to do? Well, presuming your opponent ends their turn, you draw a card. He's kind of useless. So, you will discard, well, you have a Heavy Storm in your hand, so you use that. Get rid of stuff. You will discard Abyssgunde and Atlantean Mermail. It really doesn't matter what the other water monster is. To special summon Abyssmegalo. You will use the effect, search, blah blah blah, Abyss Sphere. Then you will use the effect of Abyssgunde, which allows you to special summon Abyssgunde back from the graveyard. You have yet to normal summon a monster, so hypothetically you could normal summon him. Overlay, perhaps, for a rank 3. I mean, people don't really open up these options often enough in the deck. Simply because they're too focused on the main Mermail monsters being Abyssmegalo, Abyss Pike, and Abyssgunde. But Abyssgunde at 1 copy is still really, really useful, particularly when you use the combination that I just showed you. So then you have your Abyss Sphere and whatever, Torrential Tribute or something. And you're in a far better position than you would normally be. Because if you weren't to search up the Abyssgunde, if you were just to search up Agenix Undine, fair enough, it would be pretty useful to you, but you would have to wait until next turn to actually make use out of that card. So this wouldn't be here. And if you think about it, you know, it's a far better position to be able to go into a Zen Mains or a, you know, whatever, a Leviathan Dragon in this example, than not to be able to go into anything at all. And I admit, as I said, that Genix Undine is really, really useful. But I would definitely consider using Abyssgunde in your deck as well. Okay guys, that is it for the video pretty much. The lesson for today is basically to test out Mermail Abyssgunde, because although it was the last combo that I talked about, she is really, really versatile. It basically allows you to be more reckless when you're discarding materials for Abyssmegalo, because you can essentially discard another Abyssmegalo, or an Abyss Pike, or an Abyss Turge, or something that you wouldn't normally discard, because you're going to be able to special summon her back with this when she resolves, pretty much. So if there are any other combos that I haven't thought of that you guys have thought of, please leave them in the comment section below. If you guys want advice on your own Mermail decks and the builds that you are currently running, please ask that as well. As for the tech cards in the deck, the only thing I recommend would really be Creature Swap and also Mind Control. And I'll be coming back with more Mermail related videos soon, but I just wanted to go through the key combos of the deck to let you guys know what, you know, made them so ridiculously derpy and annoying and crazy. And there are plenty more that I haven't mentioned, of course. Anyway guys, that is it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to comment, rate, and subscribe. As always, I'm Weevil YouTuber, and I'm signing out.
Excuse me. Meow.